Welcome to More Than a Parent, a podcast exploring who we are and what we want outside of being a parent, so we can create an integrated lifestyle with impact both in and out of our homes. I'm Kaz Goddess, and I invite you to join me to be your more, live your and. Welcome to More Than a Parent. I'm Kaz Goddess, a personal power coach for parents, specifically moms who are wanting to live their more, be their and. What that means specifically is that I coach moms intentionally to create inner aligned lifestyles that energize both their presence as parents and also actualize who they are in their personal power. So what's important about this episode is this is pure power, guys. Before I even go into that piece, let me share with you a little bit about, I guess, everything going on. So we are obviously in a pandemic globally as a community. We are feeling it in all sorts of ways. There's a lot of different energies going around, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term empath. Usually it's someone that, not usually, but what it is it's someone who kind of feels all the feels, not just their own, but of others. And I think I underestimated how much of an empath I am, because up until last week, for a few days, I was feeling almost paralyzed. I was feeling all the feels going on globally, going on in the community, in other communities that I'm part of moms, everybody. This is affecting everyone. And so I was in a place where it wasn't like I was depressed. I've been there before, I know what that feels like. It was more of paralyzed by the feelings and then just kind of going through the motions of the day. If you resonate with this, if you've ever been in a situation like that, you know it is, you can get lost in that, right? Like you can just continue to go just through the motions instead of showing up. And so I allowed myself to have a space of feeling that, of being in that for a few days, because it obviously needed to come out. And so I did that piece, and then I told myself, okay, cool. I've been here before where I've allowed myself to feel something for a certain amount of time, and what is the next thing now, right? Because when we are feeling paralyzed, especially how easily that is as moms, as parents in this time that we're in, we have a choice. So feel the feels so that they are felt and not just continue to be submerged, because they will pop up again, and likely in situations and in ways that you prefer them not to. But looking like, okay, cool. So my choices are, I can stay paralyzed. I can stay in just going through the motions in a way that's not serving anyone, especially not yourself. And then you're adding to the noise of the things that aren't serving anybody. Or I can choose to allow that fear to fuel my power. And so be empowered in that pause, right? So that pause to feel the things, that pause to then be like in a place of reflection for what is possible. And so I started to choose, obviously, to be empowered in that. And I was able to not only connect more to myself. When you have moments that you allow yourself to have higher consciousness and you kind of flex that higher awareness in yourself, you're also able to see more potential, more possibilities, more opportunity. And so I thought, okay, cool. So what is the next best thing in the situation? How can I be part of something that empowers somebody else, especially if you're feeling in any way, shape, or form anxious or fear-filled or paralyzed, just in all the things, right? And so I reached out over the last week and a half. I reached out to several moms that I know, and then I also opened it up to the greater community to share some productivity tips, and I'll also be doing another episode with self-care tips. And so with this episode being the productivity one, we are in a place now where most of us are home with our kids. We're having to figure out homeschool like we've never had to do before. We're also having to be productive by either bringing our work home with us if we were working from out of the house, or now our business and our normal flow may be looking different with everybody at the house. there's a lot of incomes being lost. There is a lot of different uncertainties going on, right? But amidst it all, there is, if you choose to see it, there is possibility, there is opportunities, there is a moment to regather, to reframe for yourself, for your family, and then what does that mean like overall, right? So I asked these moms to share tips on either productivity or on self-care that could really serve us right now during this pandemic that we're in, because that way we can start contributing voices of empowerment, of possibility, versus just hearing a lot of the negative pieces, which some of it is definitely real, but we don't have to fully focus on that. Otherwise, it consumes us in a negative way. And again, not that it's wrong to feel quote unquote negative emotions. I don't believe in negativity. I really believe that those things, I call it, a certain group of us, we call it catabolic energy, which is just a type of energy that can fuel you. You have to feel it. It's part of being human, but you don't have to be sucked into the kind of like the winding piece of it consuming you in a bad way. So anywho, so for the resources shared today, this is going to be a interesting podcast. We're going to have a bunch of people joining us and sharing with us productivity for the now, productivity for this uncertainty that we're in. If you go to kazgoddess.com, that's CAZGADDIS.com, /podcast, you'll see all of it there. And specifically for this episode, if you go to kazgoddess.com /EOO9, that's for episode 009, that'll be the one here that we're going to be sharing on productivity. In that website, we'll also have the show notes as far as everyone's information. They all are sharing different freebies, different resources that'll all be available for you there. And there is a mega download with a bunch of everything that everyone is sharing. I'm calling it More Than a Parent Roundup Guide. So you'll be able to access that there.
Hi there, Melissa Lorina, the founder and CEO of Career Outcomes Matter. I help marketers rediscover what makes them special in terms of a professional environment and essentially sell their potential into a new employer where their ideas are going to be valued, heard, and supported. So in terms of my family dynamics, I've been working from home since 2011. I have 3 little boys. I have identical twins who are 6 years old, and I have an 8-year-old singleton. And what I've been doing in light of social distancing and what I've been doing for a long time is really thinking through how my children could be part of my day. How can they be part of the process? It's really ironic that from a work setting, a lot of times, a lot of clients want to be part of a process and then they feel some sense of ownership. I would say the same dynamics is at play pertaining to your children. So really for them, don't discount the idea that they might have a point of view that's a little valuable. They might have an idea that could be helpful if you're in the middle of a conversation. Like, who knew our kids are like thinking more simply and more clearly than us, especially in this day and age and time. So with that in mind, if you have a work conference or something that is virtual that you need to attend to, and you have a little child right next to you, it might be helpful to almost prepare them right beforehand, right? So why don't you tell them what it is that you're going to discuss using, a 5-year-old language? Why don't you tell them what you hope to get out of the conversation? And why don't you tell them what your expectations are up front, so that this way they have a good sense of how they should behave, how they should act. I'm not suggesting they're going to be part of the crowd and the audience and chiming in, but what I am saying is that once you tell them what you're doing, they might then in turn really surprise you and cooperate. The other thing that's helpful, and I think this is really important, especially if you're in sales, is if you get a rejection, let's say during one of these conference calls, if you hear some bad news, if you feel upset because of something that went, unlike you had hoped it would have gone, it might be also helpful as a learning moment to teach your kids what it's like to feel rejected in a professional setting. So why not help them understand the reality of the working world? Why not use this opportunity as a teaching moment so that they feel like they have a sense of what you're doing? They don't just see you talking to a box and ignoring them. That would feel really, really bad. So you want to be sure that you let them in. The other point that I wanted to say, which is really my point too, pertaining to how to get or how to work through social distancing and working from home and having children, is essentially that, you no longer commute. Hooray to no longer physically commuting. So why don't you use that time, especially if it was like an hour one way and an hour back, or let's say half an hour either way, use that time instead to smother them, completely smother them, adore them, love them, hug them, play with them, act silly, sing to them, whatever it is that you need to do, so that this way they are tired of you and your attention. And then maybe you kind of turn things around, right? And you have an opportunity to do whatever it is that you need to do as a professional that you will continue to be. So I highly recommend that you rethink the opportunity that you have right now in light of social distancing, and also rethink the opportunity that you might have right now uniquely to really show your children what it is that you do while they are at school every single day. Maybe this will be the moment that they decide that they'd rather have another job. Maybe this will be the moment that they decide that, oh no, I actually like what mommy and daddy are doing. Give them the opportunity. They are much smarter than you can ever imagine. And at the end of the day, they could always help bring a smile to you instead of playing that, meeting bingo thing that a lot of people tend to have going on. So thank you so much and have an amazing rest of your week. Stay safe. Melissa Lorina.
Hey everyone, my name is Vasili and I am the founder of Mompreneurs Worldwide. We believe that empowered mothers raise empowered leaders, and that everything goes back to one basic rule of achieving extraordinary things while enjoying the journey. As women, and especially as mothers, we have so many roles and big responsibilities, which can get overwhelming sometimes, to be honest. And it is so important to take care of our own energy while we're doing all of these amazing things. And now in 2020, with the world epidemic happening due to the COVID-19, it's the most uncertain of times that our world has faced. We simply don't know what the future holds. So like every other situation, we have two choices: to either be reactive and let fear and worry consume us, or be proactive and turn these uncertain moments into positive ones. The first step to become aware of where and how you expand your energy. And I want to talk briefly about the pyramid of energy, which has 4 layers: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And it's extremely important to take care of each layer. The world is currently emotionally drained because of the current situation. Hearing the news of how entire cities have shut down, we are worried for ourselves, our loved ones. That's why it's essential to take care of all the other layers even more, to make up for the turbulence that we're going through emotionally. It's important to be physically fit, mentally strong, and spiritually connected to something bigger than ourselves. The first step is to become aware of what drains your energy and what raises your energy level. If you are interested to learn more, I invite you to watch a mini training all about energy optimization and some tips on how to invest in your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energy. So go to mompreneurswww.com/energy to learn more about this topic. I hope you will enjoy this training, and remember that our loved ones deserve the best version of us. Take the time needed to invest in yourself and your energy. Bye for now.
Hey there, it's Nelly, the sales queen, and I am so excited to be on this amazing episode through all the craziness that is happening and how to still be productive during this time, because productivity is important no matter what season of life that we're in. And so although it is a crazy time, we can still be productive. And so I wanted to give you a really simple tip in order to take action and feel like you still have a sense of control during this time, because there is a lot of uncertainty. And so what I actually did just before this podcast episode recording was map out our new schedule, because we thrive in a routine and our children thrive in a routine. And although there's a lot of predictability, we can still be very productive. And so I went through and pulled pieces and parts of our normal routine and put those in of things that could still stay normal. And then obviously everyone's working from home, and mama's got to work, dad's got to work, like things have got to still move forward. And so breaking down the day into different chunks of time that you can still work and you can still be an amazing parent. So I did, first and foremost, my workout at the beginning of the day so I could get my mind right. And then a quick, like what I call a sales power half hour. So if you don't work for yourself, that could still be like, rapid fire, get anything and everything done that you can, get the kids breakfast, and then you can dive into your workflow for a couple hours as they're doing like an activity. Obviously, it would probably be multiple activities if you have very young children like I do, but also just being flexible through the routine. And we posted it on our fridge, and I can't tell you how powerful I feel now of like, oh my gosh, now I have a sense of normalcy and predictability. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it can be that flow through the day to still feel like we're a normal family, but still having productivity during the day. Because I don't know if you're like me, but when I don't feel productive, I feel very unmotivated and I don't feel like myself. And I think that's when we get into a funk. So in order for that not to happen during this time, the schedule was just a huge piece of that, to be able just to get excited, and then helping her or my daughter or your children be able to get in the flow with that routine too, because they'll follow our lead, right? And so if we can have us be the leaders and go through that routine as much as possible, then hopefully you're not going to lose your mind as much. So lots of grace and lots of focusing on the good during this time. And I think the biggest thing that has helped me beyond even just the schedule is joining forces with other people out there. So check in on people, see how they're doing, and have Zoom calls where you're just having like coffee dates or play dates kind of virtually, and just do what you can to make the most of this time, because we tend to complain that we don't have enough time to do things. And now the universe has granted us all this amazing time to read books, to watch movies, to be with our family. And so just continue to focus on the good.
Hey everybody, my name is Rachel Arora. I'm the CEO and founder of Spark Personal Growth Experiences for Women and mama to 4 kids that are from 10 to 16. My youngest is 10. I have a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old, 3 boys, 1 girl. And we are a blended family. So my oldest is my stepson. He comes from my husband's previous marriage. And then I have 3 from my previous marriage. And my biological oldest actually lives in California with my ex-husband. So there's a fun little arrangement for you. And I think the biggest thing that I want to share with you guys today is something that I needed to hear myself a couple of days ago. And that is, let go of how you think the day should be and how much stuff you should be able to produce or get done in a day during this really different, unusual, uncertain times that we're all going through right now. I work from home, and having my family home right now, including my husband, has been a blessing, but also, let's face it, it's been challenging. My schedule and my routine and what I have been able to normally get done in a day has drastically changed. And in the beginning, I'm going to tell you the truth, it stressed me the heck out. I wasn't able to get through my task list. I saw stuff piling up. I've had to reschedule things. And at first it was like the sky was falling in. And then something happened. I actually got sick. Thankfully, it wasn't the coronavirus, but I was like down for the count for 2 solid days. And my family was around to take care of me. And I got to see my kids and have conversations with my kids and like start to slow down, forced to slow down, but slow down. And I realized, like, gosh, this is an incredible opportunity that we have as parents to be able to connect with our children and do things that are way different from the way that we've done it before. This is not vacation. We're like in our houses. This is not, hey, it's spring break, we're down in Disneyland, which is where we were supposed to be. This is like, hey, how can we make the most of each moment and spending time together? And how can we all contribute to these moments? So for us, it's been letting the kids decide what certain activities we get to do and being okay if I am not getting a to-do list done, and be all right if I'm not producing as much or making as many big plans or focusing on revenue, because these kids right now are watching every move that we make, and they're watching every conversation or listening to every conversation that we're having. And if they're hearing us complain about them being home and making it seem like they're a burden, they're gonna feel like they are a burden. So treasure these moments. Trust me, I know it can be hard and stressful, and people are going stir crazy. So I like the foundation for all of this and actually getting through this, guys, is making sure, one, mama, you're taking care of yourself. Do anything that you can to squeeze in self-care time. For me, that's taking a bath, lighting a candle, listening to an audiobook or reading a book, and letting your family know, like, hey, when you need time alone, just say, hey, I need some alone time, because mama is going to be requesting that multiple times throughout the day. And by me doing that, I'm setting an example to them that they should feel completely okay with requesting some solo time as well, because we're all going to go crazy if we're not able to do that. I hope this helps. I am here with you guys. We are stronger than we ever could possibly imagine, and this is going to make us that much more stronger. Love to you all.
Well, there you have it. We just had a bunch of amazing humans share with you different productivity tips, insights, techniques, tools that have helped them be able to figure out this new level of productivity with having everyone in the house. I hope that this serves you. I appreciate you. I am wishing you nothing but the best during this time of mega transition and mega integration in our lives. And while it may not feel like it sometimes, you totally got this.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than a Parent. To be your more, live your and. Continue the conversation and connect at facebook.com/groups/more than a parent.